right, welcome back to InsideFlix. This is our weekly box office report. So without further ado, Rich, tell us which films made the top 5 this past weekend at the box office.
The number 1 film in America is Magic Mike's Last Dance with $8.3 million. Coming in number 2 is Avatar: The Way of Water with $7.2 million. Number 3 is the re-release of Titanic with $6.7 million. Number 4 is 80 for Brady with $5.8 million. And round out the top 5 is Puss in Boots: The Last Wish with $5.5 million.
So Magic Mike's Last Dance, it closed out the franchise with a number 1 crown. But, it's a weekend because of the Super Bowl.
Right.
But, good for them, I guess.
Yeah, like you said, a win's a win for that movie. I mean, that's what they had to accomplish to actually edge out the win, and they got the number 1. But we really expected Titanic to do more because Magic Mike didn't get that much screens. It had less than 1,500 screens. It did pretty well. I mean, it averaged over 5,000 per screen. So that's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. I think the movie was actually originally intended as a HBO Max exclusive release, but David Zaslav's just trying to get as much money out of this thing as possible. And yeah, I guess it was a smart move. Well, at least a better move than, House Party.
Yes.
But this is actually kind of the number I was expecting Magic Mike to come in, and I was expecting it to make about $8 million. I'm just so surprised that everything else, came in so low, because I thought Magic Mike was going to be like number 3, maybe even number 4 at the box office.
Yeah, well, Avatar: The Way of Water came in number 1 on Saturday and Sunday. But the difference was huge. On Sunday, it was just nobody went to theaters whatsoever. I mean,
yeah, makes sense.
On Sunday, it was over a 50% drop for the number 1 film. So,
well, I mean, it's the Super Bowl weekends historically have produced low box office numbers. And like you're saying, huge drops on Sunday because most of the people in America are at home watching the big game. Mm-hmm. And I suppose Warner Brothers did a good job using Magic Mike's Last Dance as counter programming to the Super Bowl, and it worked. And Magic Mike was able to grind his way onto the top there.
Yeah, no, I'm still not ready to necessarily say that Magic Mike succeeded, because 8 million again is still not a great number. I mean, it doesn't look like this is going to even make about half as much as the last Magic Mike movie, and the last Magic Mike movie was already considered a disappointment compared to the first one. So, I mean, this is just like a failing franchise.
Yeah, no, but just getting the number 1 film, that's the goal of every movie. I mean, just to come in number 1 for this opening weekend, and that's what it did. Mm-hmm. And that's the only thing it's going to achieve.
And that's the only title you really need for this, because like you were saying, Raymond, this was originally supposed to be released on HBO Max, and so this is all kind of extra bonus stuff. It could have been a lot worse.
But 80 for Brady, which came in, at number 2 last weekend, it had a big drop this week with 54%.
I think 54% drop is pretty good for 80 for Brady. I think the movie's it's done super well.
Well, let's look at the rest of the top 10. Rich,
the number 6 film is Knock at the Cabin. Number 7 film is A Man Called Otto. Number 8 film is Missing. Number 9 is Megan, and the 10th film is Plane.
Yeah, like you were saying about 80 for Brady, that movie had a huge drop. Well, Knock at the Cabin had even a bigger drop.
Yeah, it was number 1 last weekend.
This is not a great sign for M. Night and his kind of immediate future, but I think the positive that he could get out of this particular film is that it was actually a low-budget movie. I think it was only $20 million to make, so that's the only thing that kind of really saving it right now.
Yeah, so the one thing M. Night really has going for him is he can produce a movie under budget. That's the one thing. I mean, it's a gamble with him. You might have a success, you might have a bomb, but I mean, it won't cost you a lot. Do you want to see him do another adaptation? Because I think that, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is like his first adapted movie, at least in a very long time. He's been mostly doing original movies, and I don't know. It seems like every time he adapts something, it kind of backfires. Because now we have this, and we have the Last Airbender, and like, do we want him to do stuff like this?
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, his future could be in television. That show that he does for Apple TV, Servant, I guess that I haven't seen it, but it gets like critical praise and people seem to like it. So maybe that's his future, to be, to do more kind of scripted television. He doesn't necessarily have to spend a lot of time. He just could be a producer on those projects. To go back to Magic Mike's Last Dance, although it's getting mediocre reviews, A lot of people are praising Salma Hayek's performance in that. So
Okay.
Salma Hayek is also a voice in Puss in Boots. So that's kind of
Right.
two big things for her right now.
Well, but Salma Hayek's one of those actresses where, she's like never gonna go away. You know what I mean? Like she could do like 4 bad movies in a row, and it's not gonna affect her career. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I mean, her being in 2 hits, it's like, all right, cool. And next year she could be like 4 bad movies, and it'll be all right. She'll have like some good ones around the corner.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think secretly she's like this really constant working professional who has now gone into like this phase in her career where she is, I would say, like she is much more of a distinguished actress. And I don't know if people give her enough credit for that.
I think people give her credit. I think she's one of those actresses that, like, even if she's like in a bad movie, she still delivers in it. In fact, a lot of times, and when she's in a bad movie, people say she's the best thing in the movie.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? So she makes your movies better.
Getting back to Magic Mike, Magic Mike's Last Dance. Let's not forget that Salma Hayek came in to replace Dandy Wade Newton in this film, who had a conflict with Channing Tatum and the rest of the production crew.
Right.
And since her performance is being praised by this, that's just a great thing on her resume. And
I think Dandy Newton actually kind of needed this more than her.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah,
And I like
but
to-
this is. I like Dandy Newton a lot. I like Salma Hayek more, but that's also a big part of the reasons, because I've been a fan of Salma Hayek since I was a little boy.
Right,
you know
right.
what I mean,
yeah, and I'm kind of disappointed in that she didn't get enough opportunities after getting nominated for her role in Frida. I mean, that should have been the first spark to her career.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like a lot of actresses in that era, like once they got like that Oscar nomination or even that Oscar win, they kind of just disappeared. Like those opportunities just went away. I don't know. I don't know. It's different now. I feel like now if an actress gets nominated for an Academy Award, she gets offers like you see her like in like an oversaturation of the actress. You know what I mean? I don't think that was the case like when Salma Hayek was like in the 90s and early 2000s. I feel like if you got nominated for an Academy Award, it's like, okay, she can retire. That's Hollywood, man. I mean, it's great.
It just took a long time. I mean, she no one really went after her. I mean, for a role or whatever. She got passed up. That role in Frida should have got her, something to work with. Some other stuff. I mean,
with Magic Mike in this role as a big time financier of the stage play, I was really shocked that she was asked to play that part and was part of this film. And hopefully, her next opportunity will be an Oscar contender. But we'll see.
Well, you can't forget also that she was in House of Gucci.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know. And she was really good in House of Gucci. I liked her in House of Gucci.
No, I know. Well, I know,
hate
but I'm saying
movie,
that's an Oscar movie. Though.
Yeah, that's true.
At least they were hoping for it.
Well, so was
But,
Eternals, supposedly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But Salma Hayek. Yeah, I guess before we go to the next topic, she's just one of those actors that she can do. She could do comedy. She could do drama. She could do action too. And she's not going to go away because she could do it all.
And she gets better as she gets older.
And she doesn't age.
And she doesn't age, yes. All right, let's get into new releases. What's opening in theaters this week, Rich?
All right, starting this weekend, opening up wide is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And opening up in limited screens will be Marlowe, a new detective thriller starring Liam Neeson, Diane Kruger, and Jessica Lange. Also opening up in much more limited screens, Winnie the Pooh: Blood and Honey, which opened up on February 15. And depending on how it does, it might last the weekend. Also opening up for limited release is Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, the re-release in 4K. And another small film called Emily.
All right, so big movie, Ant-Man, the Wasp, Quantumania. Paul Rudd, you got Jonathan Majors. I would say his official introduction to the MCU, although he did appear in Loki. They're expecting this to make around 90 to 100 million. What is your predictions for Ant-Man?
At first, I thought it was going to be maybe over 120 because this is President's Day weekend, so it'll be we'll be counting Monday also.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm thinking it might be much less because the word of mouth just keeps on dropping on this one. Right now on Rotten Tomatoes is 53%.
Wow.
Yeah, and Metascore is mostly mixed reviews on it.
But
That's not a good start.
What I find fascinating though about the Ant-Man reviews, and I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but I've noticed that a lot of the people that typically hate Marvel movies seem to not hate this movie as much. And the people that like are, kind of like the Marvel, like, they love everything Marvel, they seem to be the most negative on this movie. So I'm kind of curious, like maybe I'm going to really like this new Ant-Man movie. But regardless, all the Marvel movies have been underperforming, and the Ant-Man films have always been, the least grossing films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So yeah, we were kind of expecting this to open to around 100 to 120. Now I'm actually thinking this is probably going to open anywhere between 70 to 85 million, and I'm guessing, maybe like 80.
The only thing that they have in its favor is that it's the only big release this week.
Yeah.
And so people might just go to the movie theaters and say, why not? I'll just check out Ant-Man, even though I'm not particularly a big fan of the Ant-Man character.
I kind of want to see it in theaters just so I could see the Flash trailer on the big screen.
So I think it might do a little bit better than it would.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be open bigger than Ant-Man and the Wasp. I just don't think it's going to open that much bigger because Ant-Man and the Wasp, I believe it opened to like 80 million, 75 million. And this will, again, I think it's going to open a little higher, maybe between 5 to 10 million higher, but I don't think this is going to be like a 100 million opening weekend.
No, I don't think so either. I think the reviews is really eye-opening. The fact they seem like they're pretty genuine. Usually they kind of wait until the movie's out before they kind of, tell the truth.
Yeah, that's a good point. The Rotten Tomato score is going to get even lower and lower by the time this thing is wide.
Even the positive reviews I've heard, they all kind of say that the first act was really, really bad. So I don't know. I don't know how well this movie's going to do. I mean, look, it's going to be the introduction of Kang the Conqueror. He's going to be the new big baddie. It is the first movie in Marvel's Phase 5 series. There's a lot you have to factor into this, and I think fans are curious.
And I've also seen like some like fan reviews online from people who saw the movie early, and there's a lot of people that just are completely confused by the movie and didn't understand it. And that's definitely going to hurt it. That's definitely really, really going to hurt its second weekend.
Yeah.
And I mean, this movie is so divisive that I'm hearing some people say that MODOK is the best part of the movie. I'm hearing other people say MODOK is the worst part of the movie.
Yeah, I heard bad CGI all around, but particularly MODOK. I don't know. I mean, it's like kind of the bloom is off the rose when it comes to some of these Marvel movies, and I think critics are getting really critical for once. And
I mean, like you said, that the Phase 4 was obviously a letdown altogether, and this is the beginning of Phase 5, and they should have started off with a bang, and if it seems like it's more of the same, then they're going to say, no, we had enough.
Well, we'll see. I mean, we'll see. I mean, we have to wait and see. It will be very interesting to see how those numbers come out in the weekend. All right, Rich, let's talk about streaming. What's coming out in streaming this week?
Streaming this weekend will be The Woman King, which will make its streaming debut on Netflix. Also, the movie I mentioned last weekend, Sharper, starring Julianne Moore, will be streaming this time on Apple TV Plus. And Armageddon Time, the new film by James Gray, will be streaming on Peacock.
So Sharper came out last week in theaters.
I guess it went on theaters, yeah.
And so it's now coming out on Apple TV Plus. Yeah. Armageddon Time, which I saw, it's making its streaming debut on Peacock. I would recommend it if you want a darker side of the Fabelmans. It's not a beloved film. My critics have criticized it, and I think some of those criticisms is valid, but I found it to be a very insightful film. That's about it for this episode. Thank you for watching InsideFlix. We'll be back next week. We'll see how well Ant-Man does in the box office, and we'll have more discussions. All right, thank you, and take care.